now I'm just starting another one, which we're thinking is going to go on for a very long time. So this is like an anthology type of collection of poems about one specific time in my life. And so this starts out with an introduction, and then there's chapters after that. And one thing you'll notice is that there really is no ending to these now. So there's going to be another book after this one that is the continuation of all of these poems. Okay, so here is the introduction. Oh, the fabrication, the fibs, the storyteller's demise, yet it was the start of a grand reprise. The unfolding of secrets in disguise, because in her web of lies, the truth that was disclosed, unveiled in an assault that was imposed. Sarah's love set aside with Eve's kiss goodnight. I do not recollect, I only remember neglect. With each imaginary friend, a gentleman noticed a trend. No matter how her web was spun, she was a damsel who seemed to succumb to every man with no good nature in sight. Still, the gentleman loved her despite how well her story held together like a dove in flight. And then we go to our first chapter here, the beginning. It's very short. So it began with humble heartache, ridicule, its everlasting oppression, the impression of inadequacy, and the quest for harmony. The storyteller thought, if she could only sing like a sparrow, maybe somehow she could fly on its wing. With every note passed, her heart longed for a friend to hear her at last, a note of her own, a way to feel not so alone. And here we get into the point where I just wrote this yesterday, and then I wrote some of this today, and I read it to my husband, and he's like, why'd you have to stop there? It's like, well, now everybody will want to see me the next time I'm here. So this is chapter 2, The Attempt. The gentleman's embrace, the sadness on the storyteller's face. I need to stop myself. Inside, he knew the words she was about to spew. Whatever it is, whatever you have to say, I will love you anyway. He leans back in his chair, takes a breath. The fear sets in. He hopes he believes his own words. He has to try, tells himself he doesn't need to know, no matter how full of remorse she feels. I can't, I won't, I don't know how to tell you the truth. But the guilt is built in my voices, my choices, my life is a lie, and I can no longer live with my poor decision. And what I'd like to say has consequences. I can't. He leans forward, pulls away from her desk, faces her. He looks for her eyes, but they are in disguise behind her hands full of lies. Legs crossed on the floor, she pulls her hands to her knees and meets his gaze. She struggles to breathe. Tears fall and her voice is stolen. Silence choked up by her emotion. He panics a bit, but uses his wit. The gentleman refuses to hear what's troubling his dear storyteller. It won't be her demise. He swivels his chair, quickly turns, pulls open a drawer, grabs a notebook, a pen, and what hope he has left. If you can't speak, tell me on paper. He, so shaken, hands her the notebook and drops the pen, her voice. She's on the floor. It falls by her hand. A quick sorry spills from his lips. Notebook now at eye level, a gentle man, a gentle hand. The book, it falls in her lap. The storyteller gasps for air, her last breath before she opens her eyes. So blurry from tears tangled, falling drops and mangled thoughts. The storyteller scribbles down her secrets bound by spirals. Now with shaky hands, her heart demands relief from self-imposed grief. There it is, on pages with lines, the admission of the deepest lies. It's why she takes the title, the narrator's top choice for polite terms of endearment. And where I ended that chapter is, what happens next is anybody's guess. And then it says cliffhanger, question mark. I know what happens next, but you don't. And chapter 3, the vulnerable. 13-year-old dreams and slumber parties would be the death of me. The storyteller's accidental interview went askew. Late night discussions with Divine about things we'd usually hide. The heart-to-heart was simply deception from the start. Some long-out-drawn story about a boy who used her as a toy. So let's talk about the truth. What came out of Divine's mouth was unconsensual, unconventional. The intentional advances from a grown man who, under the circumstances, was one of her mother's significant others. The storyteller's guilt was very delayed. Over the years, Divine made her feel betrayed. However, the storyteller never told the secret, and that's the guilt she'll always hold. And there's more to the story, but this is where we are so far. So thank you for listening.